Yeah, so in this session, we'll be talking about some ethics for water operators. Now let's jump right into it. So a little bit of an outline. So we're going to be talking about public health, why you are certified as an operator, some ethics surrounding the certification, CC's application. We're going to discuss falsification of data, withholding data, and some situations, where things didn't go so well, basically. So the first question, why are operators certified? So operators are certified to protect public health. The certification provides a base knowledge which serves as a kind of trust that an operator is operating the system the right way, taking the correct samples, reporting problems, etc. So we want to ensure that qualified people operate water plants and the distribution systems. So it is the water operator's responsibility to assure that the distribution system is adequately maintained and all customers have a safe and continuous water supply. The system must be operated in a manner that provides the financial that protects the financial investment. An operator must be committed to the system, be good with problem solving, organization skills, communication skills, and above all, the operator must understand the system. This all plays into effect with public health protection. So what we should be doing on a daily basis is continually looking for problems in our system, making sure that inspections, maintenance are up to date, and not wait until something fails to do something. We have to be actively looking for permanent solutions and not temporary solutions to problems. So what does it mean to be ethical? So we as a group can define what we believe is ethical behavior and use these as our governing principles, meaning that we all have a set of moral values, moral principles that we live by day to day. In the ethical practice in the water industry is like being honest, trustworthy, not lying, and many more. So there are a set of values that you live by. So where that can be applied a little further in this article, which is taken from the New England Water Works Association. And let's go through the list here and go through some of these readings. So at all times, recognizing the primary obligation to protect the safety, health, and welfare of the public during the performance of duty. And this is what we're basically looking. We're looking to protect our water source. We're looking to, look for problems that could potentially affect public health. The second one, accept and perform direct supervision of water operation assignments only in the specific technical and level of operations where qualified by education and experience. So it says this does not include circumstances of work performed under the direct supervision of licensed qualified co-workers, consultants, or employers. So it's basically stating, know the knowledge and know the limitation of your knowledge. If you're, if you don't know nothing, about pumps, don't be pulling out a pump and taking it apart trying to fix it. Kind of get the expertise, get the correct expertise in there to look at areas that your knowledge is not high on, and then solve the problems this way. Be completely objective and truthful in all professional reports, statements, or testimony. The operator shall include all relevant and pertinent information in such reports, statements, or testimony. And this just basically, be truthful with the reports that you're submitting, the MORs, the sampling sheets, etc. Write these numbers down, even though they're not following a trend. Don't try to kind of follow a trend. Submit what's actually happening in the system, and we can detect a pattern if something is occurring, and resolve it sooner than later, basically. Not falsify academic or professional qualifications, not misrepresent or exaggerate the degree of responsibility in prior assignments, duties, or accomplishments to enhance his or her qualifications, and work. And this is basically just stating, when you're applying for that exam, be truthful with what you know, um, just basically to as an ethical practice to just represent the professional qualifications that you do have, and be open to growth and professional growth. Present information to the appropriate regulatory agency in writing if the water system operator has knowledge or reason to believe that another licensed operator may be in violation of this code, and shall cooperate with the regulatory agency in furnishing information or assistance as may be required by the agency. And this one's just basically, if you see any type of operator that's not operating the system correctly or is taking shortcuts, report that. And that all lays into the protection of public health. Don't keep quiet, speak up, and we'll take proper actions with that operator. So these categories there are two main categories, and these categories apply to both you and as well as how you represent yourself to Eagle for certification tasks. So the two main categories are falsification and misrepresentation. Education requirements, application falsification, MOR falsification, both are grounds for suspension or revoking a certification. But let's take a little look at the differences between misrepresentation and falsification. So for misrepresentation, for example, on sample collection, it's been the case where misrepresentation occurred in sample collection. So for an example, when trying to disinfect the sample by adding chlorine, we've had situations trying to microwave it to try to destroy some of those organisms. Even taking the sample at different locations or diluting the sample. In the area of certification, we have impersonation of an operator, misrepresentation of education or job description on your exam application. So all these are some ethical violations. And for falsification, this is kind of a different situation. This is just straight up lying, putting down data that was not actually sampled, reporting fake data, something with falsification of an application or operator certification. It's just it's falsified, and and it's just there's no tolerance for this as well. So what are some potential consequences? So Eagle, Eagle does not like going through this process of revoking, suspending, or probation of certificates, but in some cases, it is required. If a certificate is revoked, you cannot reapply for 5 years. The whole process, it's pretty ugly, pretty time consuming, and you have to go in front of a series of board members. There's fines associated with the process, upon a criminal investigation, and potential jail time if found to be severe. So let's dive into a case study. So of falsification of information in application. So there was a city in the UP and that was having some issues getting a certified S2 operator. The local firefighter, trying to help, applied and passed the S2. And after the fact, an operator reported to Eagle that the firefighter had no experience, in the water field and should not be allowed to take the exam. And Eagle ended up revoking the license, and he was fired. So I mean, this could be a detrimental effect to public health if if the operator is not fully trained, fully up to knowledge with the system, some the mistakes can be made. So so we had a situation in the past where years of MORs were falsified, and you're ultimately responsible for the documents and forms that you're signing. Everything you submit is associated with your name. We highly encourage you to do internal reviews or have an extra set of eyes on documents before submitting it to Eagle, to help minimize these mistakes. And technically, usually when there's a repeated pattern with an MOR or a report, it kind of raises flags, and that's when we start to look a little more closely. Even if it's unintentional, falsifying a form is still a form of fraud and an ethical violation that can lead to suspension or revocation of your certificate, as well as some other consequences. So, we're here to help you if you have any questions about filling out a form. So, please feel free, reach out. So let's look a little bit on fraudulent surface water MORs. Here's kind of a sheet. So for those of you also working in a surface water treatment plant, you should fill out and answer these questions every month. So please don't pre-fill these questions, and really take the time to read through them every month to make sure that you're correctly reporting any, with accuracy and representing your system as it is at this time, basically. So the lead and copper reporting, sometimes we get a submittal of, with crossed out areas and, resample notes on the side. Again, please take the time to write a full explanation on what's going on, or what has happened, the problems that you're encountering with the sampling, that will really help make the decision with regulatory compliances. So most of you have probably read about this, but this case is going back to about 2017. This one happened in Ohio, in which a water operator was caught falsifying certificates, of their trainees. Now, there were 6 counts against this operator, 2 counts for forgery, 2 counts of criminal non-compliance with the Water Act, and 2 counts of tampering with records. So, it can really come back and affect you if you're not playing by the rules and being fully truthful in your work. So one of the worst cases, at least in recent times, the system was reporting hardness and iron, but then when Eagle went on site, there was no sign of any test kits on the facility. The operator was asked to perform a chlorine test, but was completely unfamiliar on how to do it. And in reality, chlorine in fact had been turned off, yet they were still reporting chlorine residuals on their reports. Iron filters had not been backwashed regularly, if at all, for years. Eagle really, they really came down on them with the full force of the rules, because it's public health that's at stake here, and the public health, was at jeopardy the whole time the operator was in charge. So kind of the takeaway today is to be involved in the water industry. Read new articles on new technologies and see how it can be applied to your system. Read about past enforcement cases or detrimental system problems, and ask yourself, if it could ever happen with your system. Take measures to always improve operations for your system. Don't be afraid to create proposals for new equipment. Present it to your board, and for approval of new funding for what the operator thinks the system needs, an update to an equipment or maintenance or anything like along those lines. Always document everything, and be always on the lookout for potential problems. don't push things off and see, just to, and then wait to see what happens. So yeah, that's kind of the takeaway. And with that, I can pass it on to the next presenter.